Good timing.
Make it so. 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 Make it so.
Engage.
Make it so. Make it so. Make it so. Make it. Captain's log. Make it so. Make it. Captain's log. Make captain's log. Make. Energize. Energize.
We are being probed.
We are being probed. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Trek in the Valley, the non-encyclopedic Star Trek The Next Generation Rewatch Recap podcast. If you're a regular listener, thank you so much, y'all. We really appreciate that. Thanks for sticking with us for 132 fucking episodes. Oh, my God.
Wee.
And as usual, I'm Adam. I'm here with my buddy.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Al Hirt here. What's up?
Mr. Al Hirt, those are the sounds of our voices. What is up indeed, Al? This is a rare... We always had the best intentions to record 2 episodes in a session, but
2 first.
But then it gets kind of hot. Like, it's easier to do that in the winter time because it gets a little warm back here in the studio when we pull a double header. And now that we've been kind of chit-chatting a little bit more at the top, I've been trying to make sure that we check in and shit. Not much to check in on. We've been hanging out. We've just been hanging out for the last 10 minutes out in the living room, and now we're back in the studio. How other than the air conditioner, what have you been doing to beat the heat?
Other than the air conditioner, I don't know. Oh, I remember that tip that you'd recommended too, where it's like you would soak the towel and put it in the freezer. I was that's genius.
Dude.
And then you take it out and wrap it around your neck.
Yeah, dude. You take that frozen towel, put it around your neck. That's
I've just been watching The Wire too, honestly.
Just watching The Wire, frozen towel around your neck, sitting in front of the AC that's not leaking anymore because the guy drilled a hole in it. A guy came over to your house to drill a fucking hole
in my AC.
Right. We've been so one of our cats, Gojira, is too fat. We took him to the vet.
Damn.
And he weighed like 11.5 pounds in 2020 at the end of 2020, beginning of 2024.
Right.
And then we took him back to the vet in May of 2025 and he weighed like 15.5 pounds. So he gained like 4.5 pounds. Okay. And we joked about him being a little chunky boy and getting fat, but then now he's like medically actually getting fat and it's not cute because I had a diabetic cat and that was our vet was like, we gotta try and get him to lose weight because he could get diabetes. And I had a diabetic cat for 12 years, and she was very easy to deal with. Kind of expensive, but easy to deal with. Like, she'd let you give her shots and shit.
Yeah.
Gojira ain't gonna let us give him no fucking shots, dude. This guy, he'll come up to you and let you pet him and stuff occasionally, but he really only, like, snuggles with me in bed, and he snuggles with Brittany on the couch, but that's it. Like, you can't pick him up.
Hours of sitting down.
Yeah, the idea of having to like give Gojira a shot twice a day, and then the idea of like pricking his ear to get a drop of blood to test because we had to do that with Clover, like to test her blood sugar. You have to poke their ear with a little lancet and get one fat drop of blood and just suck it up in the fucking glucometer because you just use a human glucometer. We just have to calibrate it at the vet. At any rate. My wife got these. It's like a little plastic mousey that you can put treats or kibble in it, and it has varying degrees of open on a little slot. And so your cats play with it, and the kibble falls out of it, and it gets them to like exercise to eat their food. So and we're supposed to give Gojira less hard food, more soft food, because the soft food isn't as calorie dense, right? Mm-hmm. And Gojira got real mad about his diet to the point where he was like eating shit he shouldn't eat.
What?
And yeah, he ate a string that he pooped out. He pooped out a hair tie. He's fine now, but he'll like when I'm feeding him in the morning. First off, he starts screaming. he starts screaming at me at 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just screaming right in my fucking face, right? And it's fine. I love him. I love a talkative cat. It's a blessing, not a curse. I love it. But he's very persistent. And then I'll get up and I'll be feeding him in the kitchen, like getting his soft food ready. We give them like a little supplement so they don't get crystals in their kidneys or whatever.
Yeah.
And he crying. He alternates between crying and just, there's a box that used to have that's got some pet supplies in it that sits on the floor. It's a cardboard box when one of the flaps is sticking up, and he just stares at me and cries and then chews the box. Like he's not like chewing it for fun. Like he's like, I'm gonna eat this fucking box if you don't feed me right now. He's a maniac. And so we got them these mousy toys because this guy, my buddy Dan, that I cat sat for, his cat would eat out of one of these little mousies, right? Mm-hmm. And it was so fucking cute. You put the kibble in it, you close it, and his cat would literally like pick it up in her mouth, carry it around, and throw it on the fucking ground so that food would fall out of it. And like she'd hunt it and then pounce on it and shake it and food falls out of it. That's how they do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's taken like 4 days, and one of our cats, Raphael, can kind of get food out of one of the things, and Gojira's just like fucking scared of it. And it's like, dude, you gotta figure something out. Like we've been exercising with him more, we've been playing with him more, but it's just like, man, getting a cat to lose weight is a nightmare. And I really hope that these cat toys with the kibble, I want him to, because Raphael finally this morning, after 5 days of us, like, this is the only way they get kibble. We give them soft food, and the only way they get kibbles out of the mouse. And this morning I saw Raphael for the first time, like, slowly put his paw on it, and he turned it over, and a kibble fell out. And it's like I saw the fucking realization in his head, because then he ate that one piece of kibble and then he like bapped the thing a couple more times and more kibble came out. And I was like, okay, now show your fucking dumb fat brother. I say that as a fat person.
Like the 2001 Space Odyssey when he discovers the stick, the bone does more damage.
Right?
It's like that aha moment.
Yeah, but I feel like Gojira's got a ways to go. He almost looked like he was going to figure it out tonight, and then he didn't.
Damn.
But yeah, so hey, there's some catching up that we didn't do in the first episode today.
Drama.
Yeah, and that of course brings us to our first official segment of the week. What does Al remember? It's been a while since we've talked about last week's episode. What's the title?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, man, dude. Come on.
It is.
Come on, dude.
Title.
Dude, it's the opposite of small.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of small? Okay.
Oh, yeah, the big goodbye.
I was going to say, what's the opposite of hello? Good job, man. You got there. And what was it about?
Thinking of another one. It's just, man, it's just holodeck crap. It's the first of many holodeck Dixon Hill episodes, which I hope will get better.
So
yes, and then okay, this is what's happening. They're zipping around out there.
That's what they do.
And then they're about to run into a bug species, which the Enterprises or Starfleet has previously ran into, but then they had messed up some introduction or some speech, and that ship got destroyed along with the crew and all the people on it. So Picard has all this pressure to impress this bug alien race.
Yep.
He's practicing and he's getting stressed out, and Deanna Troy's like, look, I mean, you pretty much get the gist and you understand the stakes. Why don't you take a break, take it easy? You know, we installed that new Dixon Hill program in the holodeck. And he's like, oh, sweet.
You can go pretend to be a private dick.
Yeah, and Picard just goes around and does investigating crap. He ends up having one of the science officers who's really into Dixon Hill join him, and Beverly Crusher joins him, and Data joins him, and they're on the holodeck. The bug aliens do some weird scan on the Enterprise, which messes up the holodeck.
What?
And then Wesley saves them, really. Wesley's like a god.
They really need to listen to Wesley when he says
Wesley
shit at this point.
Wesley does a bunch of shit at this point. He has a bunch of feats.
And just think about this week's, where Wesley is absolutely.
This is even more
and
on point.
Remember the Traveler episode?
Yep, it's just reminiscent of that. I think it's his voice and his face.
Yeah, it's everything about him. Also how he dresses.
Yeah,
it's his voice, his face, his attitude. in any context.
The decisions that the writers have him do.
Like we'll get into it. We're gonna get the shut up Wesley in this episode is fucking real. Classic. So they're trapped in the holodeck, and the bug people are mad. How does it resolve?
Wesley saves them. They get out of the holodeck and whatever danger they were inside, because some gang member was threatening to kill them or whatever. And
Red Block.
Yeah, Red Block.
Cyrus Red Block.
Picard goes to the bridge with his tie still on from the holodeck.
Dressed like Dixon Hill himself. And
he does the speech perfectly. The bug people are very satisfied. They just leave. It's not like they exchange any information or anything.
That's it.
And then, Picard's like, okay, what does he? Step on it.
Yeah, he says, all right, step on it. And Data says a lot of very fun, cringy stuff. Yeah. And that's what Al remember.
Can't believe I almost forgot the episode.
You almost forgot the episode title. We talked about it 50 minutes ago. And so that was last week. This week, and I swear someday, when we get 1,000 people listening every week, I'm gonna make a segment theme for the main segment. I fucking swear to Satan. This week we're talking about season 1, episode 13 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's an episode entitled Datalore. What? Oh, that title is so meta, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's about Data and lore, but we also learn about Data's creation, which is the lore of Data.
Oh.
God damn it, writers of Star Trek Next Generation are so clever.
Yes.
This is episode 132 of our podcast, if anybody gives a fuck, by the way. It's pretty great. That's a lot. And we've been weekly for a while now, except when I got COVID and when we were between seasons. But that was a scheduled break between seasons. And this episode was written by Robert Lewin and Maurice Hurley, and it was directed by Rob Bowman, one of the big producers on the show. And the air date was January 16th, 1988, and the Paramount Plus synopsis is... these have got to be AI at this point. It says, Data's android look-alike formulates an evil master plan that could destroy the Enterprise.
Okay.
So would you describe Lore as Data's android look-alike? Or would you call him his brother, which is what he calls him 100 fucking times in the goddamn episode?
Yeah, it's his brother, not a look-alike. I feel like the word look-alike...
Clone! Or pre-clone.
Yeah, just look-alike kind of, connotates, that they aren't alike.
That they aren't identical.
They look alike.
Yeah, right? Like if you squint, it looks like Data.
Yeah, right?
Or it's like a cross between Data and Geordi or something.
Data, practically.
No, it's like the first... Data? And we find out it was the first Data. Ooh. See, that's the whole... And we'll get into that at the end.
Yes.
But it's like, what? It's because, it's like... Data is draft 2. He's the corrected version. Oh. And I look forward to talking about that at the end. Let's fucking go. And so they're on their way to the planet. They call it Data's home planet, right? But it was like really just like the planet where they found Data.
Yeah, this was really strange because they try to get Data excited for this whole trip, and Data's like, could give a fuck.
No, he is excited, but
I don't know. I feel like he's more confused too, though.
He's got he
has this weird. It's hard to wrap your head around it. It's like existence, you know.
We get into it when Data's talking about how he's got a lot of interests. And he's like, one thing that interests me is going home. The other thing that interests me is sandwiches, sneezes.
Sneezes.
Yeah. So they go. Picard says, "Hey Wesley, we're approaching Data's home planet. You should come and hang out." Oh, and one thing that I want to say about this episode before we really get into it.
Yeah.
For some reason, I have this very specific sense memory of watching this episode in like the house that I grew up in, where we only lived for a few years. But I know it was where I watched the first episode of Next Generation. And I specifically remember them finding Dr. Soong's lab. Like that, for some reason, that set
Burned.
and that shit was like my whole, one of the big visual memories of Star Trek The Next Generation, just like Locutus of Borg looking at the camera with his fucking laser beam eye. And they send Wesley with his stupid fucking shirt down to get Data. And Data is practicing sneezing. And Wesley's like, "You have a cold?" And he's like, "A cold what? I'm Data. I'm logical. I'm like a Spock type. Get it?" And Data's like, "No, it's not a cold." And Data's practicing sneezing. And Wesley goes, "How can you be in here practicing something silly like sneezing when we're approaching your home planet? Aren't you interested in what's going on in your home planet?" And Data's like, "Yeah. In fact, one could say I'm agog. I'm fascinated. But I find it interesting. But you know what? I also find sneezes interesting." And so at this point, Data's got no hierarchy. Like you and I, like I'm interested in like art, toys, and science fiction, and I've got these tiers of stuff, like, you know, like there's some things I'm more interested in, other things, but for Data, because his mind is just always working at 100%, he's just, every interest is equally interested. Like my interest in Pogs from 40 years ago or whatever, or 30 years ago, it's just as strong to him as like his interest in pizza, which is something I would like more than Pogs. And he says, "I also find sneezing interesting." Chew! He just can't figure it out, man.
It's so bizarre.
And then Wesley's like, "Oh yeah, I came to get you so that you go to the fucking bridge."
Oh yeah, he's like, "Oh right." What's interesting too is that at this point we've seen Data already express frustration. You know,
Data's
like
actually been pretty human for somebody who's not human. It's like Spock.
That's what's kind of interesting, and what's you know, we get little hints and pieces, which is funny too, because that leads to the funny face twitch that they've like leaned on as a big crutch that we'll see later.
I was gonna say no, that was the last episode, but no, it's this episode. Yeah,
it's so what's the word? It's a very satisfying though, seeing Wesley being proven right once again, because no one listens.
Right.
But it's just I don't know, it's just really
and they shouldn't.
silly.
We're gonna get into that,
yeah,
but even though Wesley's right, he's a complete chode, and you should not respect what he has to say under any circumstances. Even when he comes back in Picard as a traveler, it's just like, yeah, you're like the chodiest traveler, probably. We get it. And Data says, "I could say home sweet home, but I don't understand how the word sweet applies." And Picard's like, "Usually it refers to someone else's memories, and their own memories. So they're like, it's sweet because I liked it." And Riker's like, "Data, do your memories of the colony include farms?" And this is where we find out.
Yeah, this is getting weird.
This is fucking weird, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm gonna say is weird.
What?
Tell me.
No.
What are you gonna say is weird?
That they're the part that tripped me out was later when they ask about his birth. Well, and like his sentience. I think that started. I
think we were on the same page. You just didn't know it, because they're talking about how Data has all of the memories.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I thought you were gonna. Data has all the memories of these colonists, right? They somehow put all of their memories in his brain, and so he's Data, but he's also got all of, and I don't understand if it's like their memory engrams, like their exact consciousness, or if they just typed like their biography and kind of put it in these are like their captain's logs, you know?
And they even clarified though a little further with Yar's question. She's like, "Wait, Yar goes, wait, 411 people though, like, are you talking about like their everyday experiences?"
Do you remember every
life?
shit? Do you remember every time they wanked their pud?
And Data's like, "No, not everything, obviously, but you know, just the knowledge that they've accumulated."
Data answered my own dumb question.
No, but it's like Data's still himself, but it's like, you're right. They must have transcribed that information into him somehow, because like he has to read shit.
He just read their diaries, basically. Yeah, right? They're just like, "Here's our diary, read that," and then he goes. He goes, it does not, unfortunately. It means only the knowledge they accumulated. And then he says, actually, I'm quite deficient in some basic human information. Sneezing, for example. And Picard's like, sneezing? And Data's like, he just can't stop talking about fucking sneezing, bro.
Yeah, it's, again, these really niche things that he wants to learn about that are very abstract, kind of not useless, but just funny little human quirks.
I can't remember, and we'll find out.
Sneezing.
We'll find out by watching it, right? But does he sneeze at the end? And
I don't know.
So that's how they should have shown who was Lore and who was Data.
Funny, yeah.
They like Lore sneezes, and Wesley's like, Data can't sneeze.
Yeah, right.
But they do the contractions instead.
I put too much pepper on my food.
Also, I remember since I was a 7-year-old kid or whatever, or 5-year-old kid, I remember Data can't use the word can't. I remember contractions. That's like one of the ways that I like had contractions burned into my brain as a kid. And so Data's going to go with the landing party down to the planet, and then we get that sweet HD remastered Star Trek The Next Generation opening theme, baby.
There's a very funny line too before, though, where they're gonna go down to the planet, and Data's like, aren't you gonna come with us, Captain? And Picard's like, no way. I mean, if I have that paranoid ass first officer that won't even let me move an inch. And Riker's like, would I even be a good first officer if I wasn't like that, sir?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of good Riker. There's a lot of good Riker Picard stuff in this. They actually have great chemistry.
That is kind of interesting. I mean, he's always going to go down first. And also, yeah, Riker's like, Captain, I mean, this planet was wiped with human life was wiped from this planet at some point.
That's right.
You got to be careful.
So it's not just the place where they found Data, it's also the site of an apocalyptic event that killed everybody, all 411 colonists.
Yeah, which is how they ended up. Well, I guess Data's just like a piece of a disaster.
And so Riker's like,
accident.
I wouldn't be much of a first officer if I didn't go down to the death hole first and make sure that it's not still a fucking death hole, baby.
Yeah,
and they don't know how the
seriously.
colonists died, so they're there to learn about a lot of different things. And I always like that about Star Trek. They're not just ever going to a planet for one reason. You know, they're like, these scientists are stoked about this part of the thing. These people are stoked about this.
Yeah.
Yar's stoked about this. And so they find that Data's home to be a completely dead world. And so they do know that it was his home because he's in the memories of the colonists. Now that I remember when I was like, how do they know it was even his home planet? And it's like, well, they have the memories of the colonists saying, Data, we remember you. And so they beam down, and it's just a desolate... describe this set to me, Al.
It's just a desert, but not even that. It's more void of that because they mentioned that there's no like even bacteria that's growing.
There's like plant scrub, dead little trees,
roots.
And Data says, I recognize this area topographically. It's correct, but it was once rich. And then Geordi says it was once rich farmland about 20 to 30 years ago. Data was discovered 26 years ago.
Yeah, and then Geordi's like, things were dying, though, by the time we found you, Data.
Yeah, so basically, everything died, and then they found Data.
Yeah.
And Data was just, like, turned off. Like, right? He was just like, meh. And Yar asks him, hey, do you know why you were given the colonist memories? And he goes, I don't know. I always felt that it was done in such a hurry that I could know more, but I don't. And so, it was done in a hurry, like, something
That's
killed them. It's almost as though they were about to be killed by some sort of circular entity or some sort of tetrahedral entity or something. And so they get this set. I want to talk about this set. So the landing party, the away team, as they call it on Next Generation, they approach the most He-Man and the Masters of the Universe ass looking set that they've ever had in the show. This literally looks like it's the set for the Snake Mountain playset or the Swamp playset where Hordak's lair. This looks exactly like Hordak's lair, right down to like the hidden door and everything. So they find these rocks, and they find these stairs, the stone stairs that lead down to this just stone platform where they found Data, and the only thing on Data was a layer of dust. And Riker asks him, what's the first thing that you remembered? And he goes, opening my eyes and looking into the eyes of the Tripoli landing party. There was like a distress signal that was out, and that's how they found him. When they got close, a signal activated, and they tracked him down. And then Geordi's like, I think I figured this place out. This it's like they're hiding something. And then Geordi finds a secret door that lets them into an oddly lit cave that takes them back to... What's this? Some sort of modern hallway in a cave? Why, I never.
Yeah, and Geordi's like, here it is. It's just so funny how easy he finds the entrance.
Yeah, he's like, if I made a secret entrance, it'd be right up here. Reading Rainbow. And so this hallway is fucking enormous. Like, why would Soong's lab be this big? That's what's so funny.
Up to something.
And so they find this crazy laboratory that looks really well kept, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty clean.
It's not like it was abandoned while everybody was being killed or anything like that,
Maybe it was a bunker.
And so they've got all these different they've got these tubes that have lights in them. There's a funny joke about them on Lower Decks. They like make a third light in there, and it's a big fucking deal. And Data's like, man, they must have been testing my functions here or something. And then we see these very cryptic drawings that were done by kids.
The one on the top right.
Dude, it's like funny drawings of people being terrified running away from some explosion in the sky.
But it also looks like
a snowflake in the sky.
Yeah, but it's also like those what is it called? Old Testament angels. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah,
pictures?
the biblically accurate angels. They're like all feathers
with
and
eyes.
Wings and eyes. Oh
freaky.
Yeah. And so Data's like, I remember something about this, but I don't know exactly what it represents, except for an impression of this being a Dr. Soong's work area. So Dr. Soong, they find out now, is the guy who created Data. But now they didn't know that, because Data just says this must have been where Dr. Soong worked on me. And it's like, did he just remember that when he walked in? Because they're like, who?
Rushing back.
And he goes, you don't mean Dr. Noonien Soong? And he goes, yeah, he traveled here under a different name. And then he goes, Dr. Soong is Earth's most foremost robotics scientist. He tried to make Isaac Asimov's dream of a positronic brain come true. And there it is. It's Data. So they say, and when he failed completely, Dr. Soong disappeared.
And Riker's like, oh, there we go. Now we know he went somewhere else to try again.
And Dr. Soong also turns up in Picard. The series Picard, and it fucking rules. Brent Spiner's very good.
So Riker's like, okay, we're gonna go, Geordi, Data, we're gonna go try to reap as much data and information that we can from this lab. Worf, Yar, go check out how long these fucking corridors are and where they go.
So this is such a huge fucking discovery for them. They found the laboratory of the world's most famous roboticist, and they find like the molds that they use to press Data's parts. Data takes out the clear mold of his face and he wears it over his face, and it's like perfectly fits. I fucking love it.
Yeah, that is a really funny scene.
Now,
Geordi's like, they must have made that mold to make you more approachable,
Yeah, make you look like you have a real human ass face instead of a robot head on you. It's all gears and cogs. Now they find this room that has a strange mist in it, and they just open it like that won't be poison mist.
Yeah, right.
I would think, hey, maybe that's poison mist.
Security trap or something.
And the first thing you see is a data butt. So they open this
data booty.
This smoky cryogenic chamber, and there's just a bunch of data parts. And holy shit, the fake head looks so bad. Oh my god.
No, go ahead.
No, lay it on me.
Oh, and the best thing too, I really liked in this episode, it comes out a lot, especially at this part, and the creepier parts, is just the soundtrack and the funny 80s-esque like sound tones and
great
shit.
Stings.
Yeah, hilarious.
Great orchestra. Like, and the thing about this was like a real ass orchestra back then. They would send the script pages or the dailies or whatever to a composer, and they'd fucking have an orchestra record it. I love that about the 80s and 90s TV. Well, everything before
and
the early 2000s, I guess.
Too, though,
yeah,
how they
all the
use
synth,
little highs and lows.
little
It's kind of
synth
like
sting.
what's it called? Not Friday the 13th. What is that movie called?
Halloween.
God, not Halloween. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
That's the one. With the weird little synthesizer sounds.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God, dude. The underscore for Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors is like a sight to behold. Oh, and we've got Chief Engineer Arn Anderson from wrestling back. And they're putting Data together. They got to figure out how to put them together. And there's a lot of shots of like people just holding Data parts going, wow, this looks fucking weird, huh?
Yeah, it's funny, too, because you could clearly see the sockets go together where they go.
And they're like, where could this possibly connect? And there's like obvious connectors.
Yeah, they're just rubbing wands over it.
Where could I put this round peg? I've got a round hole here. And the engineer's like, well, we don't really understand your body, but we think this is kind of the same as your body, identically. And this is what I find so interesting. They let Data get through the fucking academy. They let Data fucking serve on starships for years until he could get to the rank he has now, right? As lieutenant, right? And they don't know fucking anything about his body or what. For all we know, he could once he's been
bomb.
Once he's been alive for 50 years, he explodes and nukes half the galaxy or something. You know, they don't know. They don't know.
Harbinger of death.
And Crusher's like, we've got our top specialists working on putting you together, right? Just chill out and they'll be fine.
We don't need you to get involved just yet. We kind of have this.
But the engineer guy goes, actually, it would be best if we could take you apart and poke around so that we could see how it fits together. And that's what they're going to end up doing.
Yeah,
but
Crusher's like, no, maybe we should hold off on that. Yeah, you're good, Data. And he goes to the staff. What is it? He goes to the senior staff room.
Yeah.
And Riker and Geordi and Picard are all there. And they're like, okay, so is this any less you? Is this some more you? Is this another you?
And then one of them even says, Riker says, so Data, does he have all of your parts? And he's talking about Data's dick, dude. That's fucking gross. It's like, don't talk about Data's dick. And then Data's like, oh yeah, he definitely has my dick. I checked. And they're not gonna. Geordi's like, we don't even know how we're gonna fucking turn it on. And Data's like, I could probably figure it out.
Yeah, Picard points out the big white elephant in the room. He's like, we feel uncomfortable and we don't know why.
And it's because we're being reminded that you're a machine. And we just remember that, and he goes, you know, it's just a reminder that we're a machine, or that you're a machine. And Picard says, but really, we're all merely a different variety of machine. There's a lot of like them wrestling with Data's humanity and what's human. And Picard's like, in our case, electrochemical machines. And so let's handle this like we would anything else. That's one of my favorite beats in this. Picard explains we're all machines and
rights
and we're just gonna approach this thusly. And Riker smiles and slaps his knee like, God damn, that's some good captaining by Picard. Oh, that's some real classic Jean-Luc sauce, right? And he goes, Lore, this thing that they don't know what it's called yet could be better in some ways. And then he goes, you might want to look at, Riker says, you might want to look at this, Captain. It could be linked to the disappearances, and it's drawings of the weird thing killing everybody on the planet. I love those fucking drawings.
He could look. It might just be a kid's imagination, but the fact that it's consistent between 4 or 5 drawings, it's a little weird.
They definitely saw something happen.
Yeah. It reminds me of when those kids were the ones that survived from that colony dying and all the adults died. And that ghost had like taken over.
Yes. Ashes.
That was so weird. And I always love that bit of like, he goes, I can possess up to 3 million people.
You love that. You love when not Trillane. What's his name? I can't remember his name,
forgot.
But when he nails down like how many millions of people, you're like doing the math. You love it. I love it
there's
too.
There's definitely more people than that, right?
I love it, dude.
We'll be able to run 3 countries.
And then we'll have those countries invade several other countries. And if they have less than 2 million people, it's going to take us 6 days to turn them into our Ring Around the Rosie partners. And then we get to the robot sickbay, basically, where Data tells, this is important for later, Data tells Crusher the secret of where his off switch is. And he's like, you know, if you had an off switch, would you tell everybody where it is? And he goes, is that amusing? And she goes, no. She's like, no, I it's not amusing that you'd worry that people might kill you.
Yeah, but she goes, look, like...
He goes, it operates almost
as... I don't really trust anybody else.
He says it operates almost as... This is what was funny. I'm sorry, I was listening to you, but I was trying to figure out the joke. Look at this great shot of Gates McFadden's fucking face, dude. Well, she's got her hand inside Data's back. And he goes, there's a few buttons, and depending on how long you push them, it'll correspond to how long I'm unconscious. It's like an Android alarm clock. Is that amusing? And she goes, no.
Yeah, it's freaky. It's kind of unnatural.
It's actually fucking freaked up. And then so the chief engineer is saying it's going to be easier for us to put this robot double together once we know how it works. And this is where Data says, if you had an off switch, Doctor, wouldn't you keep it a secret? She's like, I guess I would. Oh, I love the magnifying glass. Look at that. I would love to see if that was in the original. So they have Data under one of those like things that they put over them in sickbay over their sternum, right?
Yeah.
And the other robot has one too. And they're doing this really cool thing where Dr. Crusher's got her hand under a magnifying glass over Data's chest. And and then the engineer's like, you'll notice the microcircuitry here. They tinker. It helped that we got to look inside Data, and then they switch on the new robot. And this robot immediately starts lying. Like if we find out later, everything he said is a lie. He says they created Data first, but they found him to be imperfect, and I was made to replace him. And then he has a weird facial tick. Yeah. And it's like, wait, so you're saying that Data was imperfect, but then you have a fucked up facial tick, bro? And he goes,
right. He's like, I'm the better version.
And he's smiling. He looks like the Joker. He goes, you may call me Lord. And I'm definitely not crazy. Facial tick, weird smile.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not the bad guy. I'm not going to do anything sketchy at all.
Cut to Picard's office, where he's like, I'm troubled by it describing you as imperfect. And Data always gives Lore the benefit of the doubt to the point where it's a detriment and it gets him fucked over later when he gets poisoned. He gets roofied. And Picard is like, the whole point of this is whether you and it have approximately the same capabilities. And Data's like, we do, sir. Oh, and also, maybe don't call him it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I love that. Sure Data says that. He goes, oh, and you're referring to him as it, which suggests that I, too, fit into that category of a thing. And Picard's like, oh, I see your point. Actually, nowadays, Picard would be like, oh, my God, pronouns. This is totally... Data is like having a pronouns moment. I fucking love it.
And it's kind of funny. Yeah,
and they would accuse Star Trek Discovery of being woke. And it's always been woke. That's the whole fucking point. And so Picard's like, we have a very serious question. Since the two of you are so closely related, are you going to be impartial? And Data goes, the answer is my loyalty is always to Starfleet. So Data's loyalty to Starfleet never wavers.
That's what matters.
But literally every single character questions it.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. I think it's just because, like, I don't know. It's kind of the human thing. Back to the last episode where we were talking about like people spending time with stuff. Data spent time with humans, like a long fucking time. I don't know if him just simply seeing another counterpart of him is gonna suddenly flip him,
and he's gonna have emotions,
or he's just gonna suddenly join his brother,
right? And
I don't know, it just felt really weird.
And he never wavers for even a second. If anything, it's just because he's too nice.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
He's too naive.
I was like, this is interesting. Where it's Lore is definitely more of a rogue. Like,
you should never trust a humanoid,
balls all out human robot.
Never trust a humanoid.
Never
trust a humanoid robot with a facial tick.
Yeah, right. But
I'm not trying to be racist.
Yeah, and it's just they know they're strong and they like know how to. I think it's like deceits and stuff and taking advantage and shit, which comes up later.
Absolutely.
That's when it's that's where it gets kind of freaky.
And now we're on the bridge and they've got Lore behind the navigation console and Wesley is teaching him how to Wesley's teaching him how to do the navigation and such. And Lore is like geeking out about it. And he's like, he's always giving little tells that I'm evil. You know, Lore is like one of the most obviously evil guest stars in the history of science fiction. And Lore is like, hey, you're very clever, Wesley. You do a really good job. I hope I'm pleasing you. And Riker asks Data, like, Data, do you feel the need to please humans? And Data goes, no, I think that my brother is superior to me in that regard.
Yeah, it's really sketchy though, because this is the second time. Because the first time it's already Riker goes, what's the equation? Or he asks him the Pythagorean theorem, and like Lore doesn't quite get it.
Yeah, he
gets like one part of it, but
it's
he doesn't
something
get the
I
other
heard,
part.
but I didn't understand.
He doesn't understand why you need it though, and everyone's like, "That's what you use for navigation," and then they just move on quickly. I don't know. It's like him starting off as superior, and then we're already seeing faults.
Right? He's definitely not the.
He's pleasing definitely too much.
He's definitely the first.
He's pretending to know what he's talking about.
And then Data says, no, I've never been wanted to please humans. I think that Lore's but definitely superior to me in that desire. And Lore says, because I was designed to be so human, brother. And it's like, humans aren't designed. And he goes, I enjoy pleasing humans. And LaForge is like, oh, you called him my brother. That does have a nice sound to it, Data. And it's like, really? You're having Geordi talking about, come on, just because he's black, he says it's great to call people my brother. Come on, get out of here, writers. And then Data says there are lots of important things. Data says, you consider it important to please humans. And Lore goes, it's not important. And Data says, there are many things of importance, some more than others. So basically, Data is saying it's better to be correct than to please humans. Right? And so him and Lore are gonna go fucking do something. And then Data says, Lore, you were pretending to be stupid about the Pythagorean theorem. You actually know more than you were indicating. And he goes, hey, I don't think that the bridge is that. I don't think that Riker or Worf would ever notice that. And he goes, hey, you don't overestimate them. And Data's like, don't underestimate them. And he goes, and don't underestimate Wesley. And he's like, what? Wesley's a child. And Data's like, he has a child's body, but he's very smart. We have found him to be much, much more. And later, people should listen to him, but they won't because he's a chode. And then Lore goes, thank you for that information. I fucking love how Lore is just clearly scheming, and Data doesn't get it. The rest of the crew doesn't get it, and only Wesley is the only it. Wesley and us. Wesley is the surrogate for the audience.
Pretty much.
And damn you, writers of this show, for having Wesley be my surrogate. I am not a chode that wears a weird shirt like that. And now Lore and Data have a little bit of a one-on-one here, a little tete-a-tete, right? Because Lore is like, Data, you have to teach me more about how the Enterprise works. And then Lore refers to Soong as old Mr. Often Wrong Soong. Lore does not have... Lore's like, he was a genius by human standards, and then Data says, but he destroyed his reputation by making wild claims about his prototype brain design, all of which failed. And then Lore's like, but then they did not fail with me, our beloved father. And he's like, will I soon have a uniform like that? And this
is when it gets weird.
It's not only when it gets, oh my God, dude, of course it does. He says, well, I have a uniform like that.
Yeah.
And of course he will, because he steals it from Datalore. You got it, Al. I missed that.
No,
I'm a dummy.
It's when it gets creepy though,
And-
because he's like, "So, what is your life like?" And he's
Yeah,
like,
why don't
"Well,
you tell me-
I earned this. I went
Tell
to
me everything
school."
about how you act and all your interpersonal
Yeah,
relationships.
right.
What
And
books do
he's
you
like-
read rapidly on the screens?
Yeah, and then he goes, "Can I sit here so I could read and have access to all the information on the ship?" And
Before-
Data's like, "Yeah, sure."
Before we get too much further away, I do like this beat where Lore says, will I get a uniform like that? And we know he will, because he poisons Data later. But he says, will I get a uniform like that? And then Data explains everything that he's done to get his uniform. He says, you have to go to the academy, you have to serve as an ensign for 9 years, and then like
12 years.
yeah, and it's like, so then you think about it, like, he was 4 years at the academy, another 3 years as ensign, 10 or 12 on varied space duty, and the lieutenants, and Lore's like, a system designed to compensate for limited human ability. So he's already talking about humans like they're inferior.
Yeah,
he's
like,
very
why'd
much
you go through all that? Just wear the uniform.
right. Yeah, just knock somebody out and wear their uniform. And he goes, are you truly satisfied with the knowledge and memory of a few hundred colonists?
And this is a nice little blend of we got some con action with the superiority and how, he takes over the ship, and we have a little bit of Q action with Lore tempting Data with being a better person and being a better human or being a better robot. And he's like, why settle at human? Like, let's just fucking keep going.
Let's absorb the memories of hundreds of millions of life forms of every kind. And then he does the facial tick, and Data's like, how could we do that? And he goes, we will discuss it in time. And he does it with the crystalline entity.
Ooh.
We know because we watched the episode beforehand. And then Data says, look, Lore, answer me this one question. Which of us was created first? And Lore says, it would be foolish to underestimate you, brother. And he goes, yes, I lied when I said you were made first, but with good reason. Dr. Soong made me perfect in his first attempt, but he made me so completely human, the colonists became envious of me. And then Data's like, wait, you lived with the colonists? And I fucking love this, man. I like, what bullshit. Like, imagine somebody being like, yeah, he made me too perfect, and the colonists got mad about how perfect I was. They definitely didn't run me out of town. And so basically they said they petitioned Soong to make an android that was less perfect, something that they would be more comfortable with. And he goes like, for instance, can't you see how easily I handle human speech? I use contractions and you can't, but I can say, is it? And he does the, you say potato, I say potato. That's another memory that's burned into my head, is Lore saying, you say potato, I say potato.
Yeah. And Data's like, what? And Laura's like, that's just an old joke. But then you also have trouble with their humor too, don't you? You fucking square.
I love that Data is
Data's
just like,
I'm just trying to be an innocent person here.
No, he what he says is, you're right. That's what Data's saying. I love that. Data goes, actually, you're right. I am not human. And Lore's like, you shouldn't even want to be human, bro.
Yeah. And then at the end, it's like Data goes, and you do realize, Lore, I am obligated to tell this conversation to our ship's captain.
And Lore says, of course, when I began studying you, I knew that you would be such a goody two-shoes. And he goes, and now, can I use this console to learn everything about the ship and the captain and everything about how to control you and control the ship? Can I use this to learn everything I need to do the next act of the show?
It reminds me of Khan again, when they just give him access to the ship and the designs and all that.
Right? And then
he's like, I want to read what I'm writing on.
And it's so funny. Data says, yeah, you can use this console for all that, and also you can use it to tell the captain exactly what happened between you and the colonists before I was made. And he goes, yeah, of course I'll do that. And then he sits down, and then Lore immediately has a smile on his evil face.
Yeah, and Data's like, do you need anything else at all?
And he's doing the rapid reading.
Yeah, he does. And Lore's like, no, I have precisely everything I need. And he's like, why are you laughing?
And
at that point.
And this is where Picard says, thanks to Lore's report, we know exactly what happened to the colonists. Or do you, Picard?
Uh-oh.
And they basically describe that there's a crystalline entity that ravenously feeds on human life, and it's capable of destroying an entire world, and definitely could destroy a starship. And Troy's like, but how did Data escape from that thing? And Lore, of course, Data reported to them that Lore was built first, right? And then they're like, well, it could explain why Data was left outside to prove that he's no danger to the colonists, or that he would be found by the first Starfleet crew to come after the crystalline entity destroyed everybody. And so Dr. Soong knew the crystalline entity was going to destroy everyone, so he left Data, his best creation, out for somebody to find later, right?
Yeah.
And Riker is like, hey, Picard, do you think this crystalline entity thing is real? And Picard's like, hey, we don't know shit, man. It definitely could be, right?
He's like, dude, literally last week we just saw Q, and he just put a sheet of fucking electrons in the space, and we couldn't get through that. Do you remember that?
Remember how fucked up Q was, bro?
He gave you superhuman powers, like... We don't know anything.
Yep. And now Troy is questioning Data's fucking loyalty after he leaves.
Yeah.
He's like, are you sure? Because she goes, hey, was Lore going to leave your room? And Data goes, what? And she's like, yeah, Lore left your room. And he's like, to go where? And she tells him to go to a place where there's got like android supplies, basically. And Data's like, he can't do anything dangerous in there. That's like if you were looking for antiseptic. And I was like, well, yeah, but if somebody's looking for antiseptic, it means they got a cut, or somebody is cut.
Yeah.
Like, you'd want to know why. And so Data leaves to go check on what Lore's up to. And Troy's like, are you sure we should trust him? And Picard is like, Data is a Starfleet officer first, remember? And then and they all kind of look at her. And they look at Picard. They look at Picard like, how's he going to respond? What does he think about Data? And they're like, oh, I can't believe she would ask that about Data. And so it's a double bunch of looks.
Yeah.
And Picard's like, not only is it okay that she asked, it's great because she's the security officer and it's something she should ask even if it's fucking uncomfortable.
Yes.
And then Data walks in on Lore, pouring them Lore puts poison in champagne, right? And then Data walks in and Lore's like, let's drink this champagne. And Data's like, a weird human custom. I don't really understand why we would observe it. And Lore goes, that's what makes me human. It's these stupid little customs that I can observe. Let's try it.
And he's like, okay, I guess.
And Lore says, now that we know each other, may it fill our lives with new meaning. And they both drink. And then Data is just immediately stricken.
Yes, Data's just hazing in and out, and it is like kind of choking, and Lore is pretty much ranting about how Dr. Soong gave him,
human needs.
Oh, and ambition.
Right.
Like we were talking about the Q collective.
Right.
And I mean, I guess his motivation is just to take over and make more androids. But you see Data kind of just like sees over and he's like, brother, help me.
Oh, that's not his motivation. His motivation is feed everybody the crystalline entity.
The crystalline, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but at any rate, he's bad shit, right?
Right.
And even though Data knows now, logically, that he was poisoned by Lore, as he's shutting down, he's like, brother, help me. It's so fucked up, right? And then Data and Lore goes, and let us also toast to the great crystal entity with whom I learned to communicate. What? Now they showed us, and he goes, but before Dr. Soong disassembled me, I earned its gratitude by revealing the way to the colonists.
So it's like revealed that he killed the colonists.
He told the crystalline entity how to find the colonists.
Jeez.
And then Dr. Soong took them apart, and then everybody got et.
And he put that, whoa, dude, that would be a cool episode or a little mini-series.
And
Dr. Soong just putting all these memories and Data.
Yeah, and so he says, and then I'm going to feed your whole crew to the crystal entity, and it's going to make me immortal, and I swear I'm going to run around and be immortal with the crystalline entity, and my name's Lore. And then they go, Wesley, can you go look in on Data discreetly? And it's like, Wesley can't do anything discreetly, bro.
Right.
And then we cut to Lore wearing Data's uniform, and he's sending a message to the crystal entity. He's like, everything worked out exactly as planned. I'm going to identify myself as Data when we meet later. Over and out, crystal entity. Face twitch, right? And so then Wesley comes in, and Lore's got to be like, because he put his old costume on Data.
Yeah.
And he's like, Lore suddenly attacked me and I had to turn him off. And Wesley goes, why did he do that? And he goes, well, he knew that we were spying on him and he got mad about it. And then Data does the facial twitch that Lore does. And that is when Wesley knows. And Data or Lore goes, I practiced his facial twitch. Do I have it right? And Wesley's like, I don't know if you should be imitating him if he just attacked you. Like, I don't think that we're finding out more about Lore being fucked up, you know? And then Wesley goes, you know, if you'd said we've been checking the sensors, I would have known that you were Lore. But you said we have, so I know your Data. It's like, don't tell the criminal how you would identify him, bro.
Yeah, right. Good thing you didn't do this.
And then we find out why Lore was looking for those materials, and it's because he's going to give Data the facial tick, and he's going to remove his own facial tick.
Ooh.
So that, deepening the ruse, right?
Yeah.
And then Beverly Crusher is talking to Wesley on the bridge, and he's like, did he tell you how he disabled Lore? And he goes, yeah, he said he turned him off. So he was very cavalier with sharing the off switch, but he said that was a big secret. So what the heck's going on?
So Crusher knows something's up.
Yep. Data comes on the scene, and then she goes, you know, Data, you told me your off switch was a big secret, but you told Wesley. And he goes, hey, if I can't trust the bridge crew, who can I trust? And then he said, I can't. If I can't. He said, if I cannot trust the bridge crew, who can I trust?
But it's also like he's entitled to change his mind and who he tells what.
Fair, I guess, but
it was too soon. Data
doesn't make changes like that.
Yeah, and that's a big deal.
And then the crystalline entity catches up to them, and they're like, I can't imagine something so fast would catch up to us. And then Datalore says, it looks so beautiful, doesn't it? And it's just like, fucking, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, no one questions that. That was weird.
Right? And then they're talking about the crystalline entity. Geordi says, it's like a snowflake, but more complicated. And it's like, oh, really? Wow. Is the fucking huge thing the size of a fucking... the moon? Is that more complicated than a snowflake, Geordi? I'm glad you got that fucking visor. You're looking up your own ass, bro.
It was so funny how Picard was expecting this cool update.
And Picard's
like, it seems like a big thing that's in our way, sir. It's like, thanks, Geordi.
And Picard is like, Data, can you control Lore enough to question him? And then Data says it could be dangerous. And Wesley stands up and says, I don't think you should let him just run roughshod. I don't think he's Data. I think he's Lore.
Me and Adam just like visibly face palmed.
And they're all dicks to Wesley. They're like, Wesley, we're going to make Riker go with you. You can't disrespect an officer like that.
You fucking just stepped out of line like some asshole instead of just being like, hey, can I talk to you to the side for a sec? Like, hey, one moment, you know.
I think that, obviously Wesley's right, but he's such a chode.
Of course,
people don't want to believe him. Yeah. People, and they're like, look at your shirt. I can't believe you. Get that shirt out of here, and your voice and face and the way that you walk, it disgusts me. And so then we get Riker, Wesley, and Lore in the room with Data's turned off body, and then Lore does this thing where he like fingers Data's back all weird and makes it look like he's having a seizure, and he's like, he senses that you're here, get out. And then they leave, and then Lore kicks Data in the head a couple times.
Yeah, here, take this, asshole.
It's all very sinister, right? And then Riker is describing to Picard what happened. And then Wesley just turns around and says, or is Lore pretending to be Data and faking it all? And Picard is like, I asked for Commander Riker's report, you little fucker. Acting ensign. And he goes, and now it seems clear that you're unable to operate within the limits of his appointment. And Riker's like, it's actually my fault. I'm training him. So the fact that he's a sniveling little chode, I'm going to come
down on him.
Right? And then the crystalline entity attacks them. Shields are holding. And then Data comes in. Lore comes in and says, no, Captain, let me talk to it. And Picard's like, you didn't say you could do that. And now he knows that it's Lore.
Yeah, it just seems kind of bizarre. And he goes, affirmative, talk to it. Lore opens the frequencies, and as planned, he goes, crystal form, I identify myself as Data. And he basically negotiates with this crystalline thing by threatening it.
Yeah, he says the humans are powerful, and we will do a demonstration of their power.
I feel like, and that just from that alone, though, like, I feel like even as Picard, I'd be like, I don't feel like Data would say something like that. And you see the crystalline thing back up, and Geordi's like, now that's what I call communicating.
Right? And so then fucking Datalore's plan is he's like, we're going to make a tree in the transporter room. We're going to put the tree out there by the crystalline entity. We're going to blast it with our phasers to prove that we are indeed dangerous. And then Picard says, make it so. And Data goes, Sir? And he goes, well, do it. And that actually is when Picard knows. And then after Data leaves, Wesley pipes off and he says, as acting ensign, and he goes, shut up, Wesley. And Dr. Crusher is like, shut up, Wesley. And then Wesley just keeps talking back.
Yeah, and he's like, look,
even his mom says, shut up, Wesley, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, everything I said would have been listened to if I was an adult. And I love that bent on this episode where it's like, they do so much stuff with Wesley. It's very 80s where it's like, kids don't get to do things, but adults do. Like the producers were like, we gotta have Wesley be a surrogate for all the kids that are like, our
watching
parents
this.
don't let us watch Star Trek, or like our parents don't let us smoke cigarettes or whatever. I fucking love it, but I also hate Wesley.
Yeah, and honestly, he's just like, he basically tells Wesley goes, permission to go back to my quarters, sir. Picard's like, yes, definitely go ahead. Miss Crusher, please join him. And Beverly's like, you're kicking me off the bridge, Captain. And he leans in there and he's like, no, go with your son and take care of it.
I'm making you watch your son while all this crazy shit is happening.
Like, I don't know what's going to happen with this crystal tree, so that would help if you guys were safe.
And then Datalore, Worf, and a couple other people go into a turbo lift, but Data goes, emergency close, and the door closes between Worf and the other ensigns and the other people who are with. So then Datalore goes, show me that Klingon fierceness, baby.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And then Worf just cranks Lore in the face. It has no effect. Lore punches. Oh, that makes my rib hurt when I heard it on the disc golf course. Like, that's exactly what happened. Then Datalore backhands him, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not too crazy in the combat.
But this is where Wesley takes Crusher to Data, and she goes, that's Data. And I know that you know how to turn him on. And it's like, hello, what's going on?
Yeah, right.
I love how he says that.
I know that you know how to turn him on, Mom.
And she's like, Wesley. And he goes, you're being, and he goes, if I was an adult, you would help, wait, what does he say here? He goes, I heard you know how to turn them on. She says, this is very serious. And he goes, so just tell me, shut up, Wesley. And it's like, she's like, you're being very unfair. And it's like, you're such a chode. Don't you understand? You're being unfair by expecting us not to treat you like the most annoying chode. Oh my God.
Yeah. And then
she turns him on.
Data back up.
She fingers Data's back a little bit.
And Wesley immediately catches him up with anything. He's like, Laura's loose on the ship. He has control of all this stuff.
I love Wesley
and he's
in that
fucking
moment.
Kill us.
Even though he's terrible.
And Data's like, oh. Okay, I'll go look for him.
He gives Data the relevant download. Those three don't contact the bridge, which they should.
That's what I was really confused about.
Instead, they sneak up on Lore, who's basically saying, "Oh, crystal entity, I'm gonna transport something out to you. The deflector shields will be down for long enough for you to suck out all the souls of these Oh, Data's here.
Yeah, right. And he's like, right as I open this.
Yep. Data's like, you make me wish I was an only child.
It's like,
and
ooh.
They have a tete-a-tete again. They go back and forth. Crusher comes out with a phaser. Lore just throws Data at her and then takes the phaser, right? And he says, I'm going to kill your son if you don't get the fuck out of here.
And he's like, isn't being a human great with all this trickery?
Yeah, and he goes, another thing about humans is kindness. And he's like, well, you can be kindly, get the fuck out of here, or I'm going to melt Wesley.
Yeah, and then he's like, seriously, I'm going to melt him.
As Crusher's leaving, he counts to 5. Mm-hmm. As Crusher's leaving, he goes, a parting gift for your disrespect. And he shoots her in the arm.
Clear shot.
Her arm is on fire as she runs into the hallway. Like, they got a stunt person
for that
to
one
have
shot.
an arm on fire.
You would think, too, I don't know, it would be funny if, like, he had set the phaser to too high and she had just fucking
blows his arm off
into a pink mist.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing.
Ooh,
that's the option.
Too high.
When it's set to kill, it vaporizes him. Yeah,
right. But it was like...
you did a good job.
Fucking popped.
You did a good job mentioning the count up. Because he goes, I'm going to give you till the count of 5 to get out of here, or I'm going to blast your son. She gets out of there and he still shoots her.
He's like,
Laura's such a dick. They shouldn't have trained Lore about everything to do with the ship. Data then fights Lore in a very throwing heavy stuff at each other because they have superhuman strength. Data says, Wesley, the transporter. Hold on. Does Wesley say the transporter? Or does Data? Let's see here.
Yeah, Data says...
a small payment for your son's misdeeds. He shoots her arm. I want to see the stunt person. Yeah, stunt person, flaming arm. Yeah, Data and Lore fight.
Right.
Oh, Wes, the transporter. So Data tells Wesley to get the transporter fired up. He's going to throw Lore onto the transporter pad, which he does.
And he goes,
and then Wesley beams Lore away before Lore can shoot the phaser. He gets a little impotent phaser blast out, and then it transporters away.
So yeah, it was Data then.
Yeah. So here's Wesley just killed Data's brother. Because he beamed him into the crystalline entity.
Yeah.
And that's what and how did he know that that's where he should beam him? But and then when they come in, they go, Lore's gone permanently. And it's like, Wes, you just annihilated a very unique being in the universe.
Yeah, that was a funny thing too that you brought that up. It was like, could we have not disabled him and just researched a little bit?
Yep.
This is the only other human like android in the galaxy.
And then Data says, I'm fine. And then he has the facial tick. And then Picard goes, then get rid of that damned twitch and put on a correct uniform. And then Data says, yes, Captain. I thought he used a contraction or did something else.
No, he's just back to treating him like shit.
Just the facial tick.
Damn it.
And then
fix that face.
And then Picard says, Ensign Crusher, are you able to return to duty? And he goes, then do so and let the bridge know all is well down here. And he didn't apologize to him exactly.
Not this time.
He says, yes, sir, I'm fine.
Oh.
He says, Data says, yes, sir, I'm fine. And then he twitches. And he goes, get rid of that damn twitch. But why doesn't Wesley say, Data, you just used a contraction?
Oh, no.
And then, Picard just says, get back to duty. For both of them. There you go. And he goes, we're overdue for a computer rehaul. We've got to get to space dock. And then he goes, number 1, have you ever considered whether Data is less human or more human than we want him to be? And then Riker says, I only wish to be so balanced, sir. And Picard says, agreed. And that's the last line of the episode. And I love it. I love the chemistry between Picard and Riker. Mm-hmm. And I love how Riker, like, just that when he's like, oh my God, look at how captainy Picard's being, Jean-Luc's being right now. I fucking love that shit. So what did you think about Datalore, Al?
This was definitely a good, strong episode.
Absolute
I really
ripper.
It. Yeah, it like delved into the sci-fi of like, I guess what it is to be like a human or what it is to be.
Are we human? Are we dancer?
Yeah. And also, too, we got a little bit of the robo-rights with Picard being like, well, we are kind of machines, too. You know, electros. We got, cells in our bodies that technically do a job and this and that.
It really plays into the series Picard. This is like, if there's like 10 episodes of Next Generation that you should watch before you watch Picard, this is definitely one of them.
Yeah. Because it sets up the cool lore about how Data came to be, and then the Doctor too. I really like it's expanding the universe too, and the characters that we love. And I was very surprised that they went into Data's story in the first season.
Yeah, they dig right in.
Yeah, this is like, I felt like this would have been like a second season or even a third season kind of thing. But I think it's really it's special because we see Brett Spiner's great acting.
Oh, he's so good.
And we see a lot of the same highlights that they use with the lighting with their eyes and shit.
Yeah,
and
dude.
all the drama with the I guess tricking one another. I guess the one negative thing is just probably just Wesley's bitching. I get just the way he goes about it.
It's not.
It's like
he's not
his
bitching.
fault.
Wesley's not bitching. He's saying exactly the right things at the right time. He's just a complete chode. That's all it is. It's just nothing that he will ever say is not going to be coming out of the mouth of a total little wormy chode boy with literally the dumbest sweaters you've ever seen in your life. You can't beat it. You can't get that. You can't separate that. You can't separate the art from the artist. You know?
Right? No, and I think though with Wesley, the thing is, it's meant to be a whole self-insert of like, oh, the kids want to see themselves on there and how they'd be on a ship and stuff. But just it's just a drag because what really exemplifies it is when Wesley goes all the way to the bridge to warn the captain about something coming to the ship that's cloaked. And Picard's like, you could have literally just called us.
We have communicators for a reason.
Intercoms. Yeah,
intercoms for a reason.
You could have just pressed this button.
That's protocol. But you wanted to be here when they show up. The Ferengi.
Yeah, it was so, I don't know. It's just very like, oh, come on now. And I feel like that's just compounded. But at this point as well, he's been right about a lot of things, and he's kind of like a god.
He's been right about literally everything he's ever done.
Yeah, like a good chunk of them. I haven't really counted them, but it's like
a third of the episode so far. It is a third because it's
Wesley figuring it out,
and also
things resolving really quickly.
He's a huge fixture in the episode where he takes over the ship as well, because he saves them from the holodeck.
Yes,
and he does the traveler stuff, figures out the traveler, and he figures out that Lore was. So that's 3, and then he was a huge fixture in the episode where he takes over the ship. One thing the
traveler calls him powerful. I don't know why they set that up.
Dude, you watch Picard. When we get to Picard 20 years from now. So I liked it a lot. I think that it's funny that Data's got the memory of like 411 random goofball colonists in his head. I like Riker's delighted reactions to Captain's captaining. I can't believe Data he got through the academy and did all that shit, and they don't have any idea if he's like a bomb or not. I like the idea of Data's off switch. It's kind of like Chekhov's off switch. Chekhov's gun. The Anton Chekhov, the playwright. Like, if you introduce a gun in the first act, you're going to see it get used by the end of the fucking movie, right? Or the end of the play. And I feel like the off switch that he shows to Crusher, it's going to play a part later, and it does, of course. The Federation loves teaching dangerous beings all of their history. That's something that you mentioned, too, with like Khan.
So bizarre.
They're like, oh, so you might be incredibly powerful? Sit behind this computer, learn every way you can fuck us over.
You want to learn how to break the ship?
Yeah, you want to learn how to take over the ship and run it from this one room? Well, I'll tell you what, here you go. I feel like if Lore existed today, he would be a racist shock jock.
Right.
Like, he'd be like Don Imus or like Rush Limbaugh or one of those clowns. Everybody except Picard is worried about how much they can trust Data, and Data never wavers. And then I just remembered Picard even asks Data, like, are you sure you can be impartial? And he calls him it and such. I love that scene.
Yeah, it's we get the little bit of the wokeness with, people being open-minded about who Data is. And
I love it.
The part that tripped me out was when Yar was like, so
Always was
this was your birthplace, huh? This is when you like existed. And Data's like, I fucking guess. I don't really know what birth is.
I'm practicing my sneezes.
Yeah, it was
I love all the
weird.
sneezing stuff. I still think that they should have showed him sneeze at the end somehow. And Beverly Crusher's flaming arm is just awesome.
Wild.
I'm gonna write a song called Beverly Crusher's Flaming Arm. And so I'm gonna give this one a 4.
Oh, 4 face masks.
4 face masks, 4 face molds out of 5. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this is a must watch. This one's like interesting. It's
top
like,
20 ever.
Yeah, I think
it's in
this
there.
is I mean, out of the season so far, because I heard this first season's drag, and then like the next ones get bigger and bigger.
This is a banger episode for the first 12
That's what
for
I'm saying.
sure.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely stood out. For some reason, I don't know, Haven's still sticking out to me just because of how silly it was.
plus, it really feels
Farpoint
like
was entertainment.
like I said,
entertaining.
aside from when I remember watching the pilot with my dad, like this is one of the first episodes that I remember some stuff from very clearly.
Feels very heavy into the Star Trek, but it's like what I said, it's like expanding the lore of their lives as well.
And they mention Isaac Asimov. Troy even says that Dr. Soong was trying to bring Isaac Asimov's the sci-fi of the positronic brain to life, and it's like that's very meta, you know?
Yeah, and it's like just a throwaway line again.
So
or
good.
Just a side line.
So good. Loved it. Fours all around from the Trek in the Valley dudes. From the dudes in the valley.
We both liked it a lot.
Which brings us to our final segment on the show. Captain, Adam and Al are recommending things. I repeat, Adam and Al are recommending things. Do you have something to recommend? I know you just recommended things last episode. You can't recommend The Wire again.
No, it is so good. We finished season 4. We're about to finish the 4th season. Then wrapping it up with the 5th.
That's right. I got to watch that. I got to try and watch that 5th season with you. Let me know when you start it.
There's this rapper, Rich Brian. It's the album is called Where Is My Head? It's like interesting because again, this guy came out during 2010s trap, like SoundCloud era, came out with like a funny, silly song. His rap name used to be called Rich Chiga because like it was a play on words because like he was Chinese.
Yeah, I know.
And then it was I gotta drop it now because like he got huge, right? So then he just changed it to Rich Brian, I think, or no, it's just. Yeah, it's Rich Brian now because his name's Brian.
He had a moment like that. Who's that stand-up comedian? Shane Gillis. He had a Shane Gillis.
It was just like, maybe I should drop this. But then he has this label, 88 Rising, and like all these people were part of it. Anyways, this kind of just feels like a more mature take. Like you could tell he's definitely experienced now.
What's the name of the record?
Heartfelt. All in My Head, I believe.
Rich Brian, All in My Head. What kind of rap? What kind of music?
Where Is My Head?
Where Is My Head?
It's just R&B, hip hop, more hip hop leaning.
Does he sing? Is it a lot of singing and singing